I'm in the series where I'm going to talk to you about some of my symptoms prior to the Mood Makeover Method. And today I'm going to talk to you about fear. So fear was a big one for me. Fear about my health and my life, like would I live? I was really afraid about that. I just didn't feel well. I had a lot of fears around that. Fears when it came to my relationships, feeling like people that I wasn't being told the truth, that the people who I loved the most didn't really love me back, didn't really know me, didn't really care about me. And those fears really piled up and contributed to a great deal of sadness and anxiety and this feeling of disconnect, all of which we'll talk about with some of the other symptoms. But just that base of fear, just feeling, have you ever felt like that? Like in your gut, like feeling like something was really off. And sometimes it is. Sometimes we're 100% correct. Like something's off in our body or something's off in our relationships. And maybe there's a family member or a friend or someone that we just realize something's off. However, sometimes what can happen is the fear can create an entire thing around us that actually perpetuates anxiety and sadness and a horrible mood because we're trying to navigate all these fears and we're carrying it inside just like this heavy weight. So the way the Mood Makeover Method really helped with that is a couple of the principles that we work through. And one of them is talks about taking the toxic out of the love. So this is really helpful when we get into talking about relationships, and I'm actually going to leave you another separate video about that. But that was a big one. And the other one that I think was primary when it comes to dealing with fear is our principle that we talk about: perception equals peace. So changing your perception, changing yourself first, and changing your perception on things really takes away the fear. And it's not that you don't feel that thing in your gut anymore, and it's not that we don't have concerns anymore, but you learn to navigate things, and you're able to work through the fear, and you're able to actually accomplish things. And that's what happened with me. I was able to change my perception about things. I was able to think about things differently, about myself differently, about people differently. I learned how to trust myself and my body to be able to heal and repair the best that it could. And I changed my perception on what would happen if and when it couldn't do that any longer. And all of those things gave me so much peace. So perception equals peace, how you think about a thing. So the great thing about that principle is it really helps us to understand that it's not that we don't have valid reasons for fear and concern. We do. That's part of life. But how we perceive a thing is going to make the difference in how we carry it, how we carry that weight, or whether it's a heavy weight or rather it's something that's much lighter and much more able to sustain and to get through and to put aside and to work through. And so that's what I was able to do with the fear, to the point where it no longer encapsulates everything that I do. It no longer is a constant partner. It's no longer something that I need there to help me to make decisions. I don't do them anymore in fear. It's something that I'm more able to set aside. And it's just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be able to come to that kind of balance and peace. So perception equals peace. We'll talk a lot more about it. That tells you a little bit about the fear that I had. And in the next video, we'll be talking about